So in this video, I want to look at the 5 components of a body paragraph, as well as show you an example of what I'm looking for. So the first component of a body paragraph is fairly obvious. It's going to be your topic sentence. What are you arguing in this paragraph? And remember that your topic sentence needs to support your central claim. Then you're going to introduce your evidence. Most of the body paragraph really looks similar to the analysis paragraphs that you've written previously. However, in the introduction to evidence, it is going to look very different. In your analysis paragraphs, you provided the context for the textual citation. However, in your speech, when you're looking at research, you need to do a little bit more. You need to introduce the author, the title, relevant information. That might be something like, according to Bob Hill, a molecular scientist at Stanford University, I'm showing why Bob Hill is a credible source. Or I might use a more generic introduction, something like an example of the negative effects of global warming is. What's important about your evidence, when you're thinking about your evidence that you're choosing, is that in your introduction and your evidence, this is not your opinion. This is something that you have discovered through research. It's evidence-based. Your explanation is where you're going to have an opportunity to talk about what you believe about this. So my evidence is right. It's very research-based. This could be a textual citation where I'm actually in quotation marks quoting something word for word. A paraphrase, especially with research, it's important that we are able to take a lot of information and synthesize it for our reader. So paraphrase is great for if you're looking at a research study. An anecdote, which is like a short story, or an example. Then you're going to move into your evidence. Then you're going to move into your explanation. And this is where you really get to talk about that evidence, explain it for your reader, as well as connect it back to your topic sentence. You need to show the relationship between your evidence and proving your topic sentence. And then you're going to wrap up with your concluding sentence. Your concluding sentence, right, will circle back to your topic sentence, but also kind of provide the larger context for the conversation that you're having in your speech. There are 2 options for you when you think about writing your body paragraphs. The normal body paragraph that we have worked with the analysis paragraph, is going to be your topic sentence, you're introducing evidence, and your evidence might be 1 sentence. And then your explanation or your elaboration is long. It's 4 to 5 sentences and your concluding sentence. So that is an option. Another option is going to be to provide 2 pieces of evidence, and that is going to then require 2 explanations. And the big difference, if you'll notice, is that on the explanation in option 1, you're going to have longer explanations, can be 4 to 5 sentences. Where in option 2, if you're using 2 pieces of textual evidence, they're going to be shorter. They can be 2 sentences of explanation after each piece of evidence. You don't need to spend tons of time in that step because your evidence really is going to speak for itself. So these are your 2 options. I encourage option 1 if you're using a longer anecdote, and option 2 if maybe you're wanting to show a relationship between 2 pieces of evidence. And I'm going to show option 2 because I think it's for this topic or for this prompt. I think that is the one that you're going to use the most, but feel free to choose to use option 1. And you don't need to choose to use all option 1 for all 3 of your body paragraphs. You could use 2 option 1s and 1 option 2. So it's up to you. Okay, let's look at the first part of my paragraph. So it is going to be a longer paragraph. So this is just the first half. So I'm going to start with my topic sentence. One of the hurdles that low-income families face in providing healthy options to their children is access to grocery stores and other fresh food retailers. So that is what I'm arguing in this paragraph. I need to prove to you, and I haven't done an effective job in the body paragraph if I don't prove that low-income families and low-income communities have less access to grocery stores and fresh food retailers. Okay? So here is my introduction to my evidence. Sarah Truhaft, in A Grocery Gap, a summary of the current research about the impact of Markets on Healthy Eating, right? That's my introduction. Found that, and here's my evidence, found that in hundreds of communities across the country, there is little to no access to healthy food. So this is just the first part of my evidence. This is an example of when I'm paraphrasing. I looked at her whole research summary, and I paraphrased the important parts. These communities, True Haft argues, are predominantly low-income communities of color. So I'm starting by really proving to you that low-income communities, especially communities of color, have less access to grocery stores and fresh food retailers. Okay, so that's just the first part. So now I'm going to provide my explanation or my elaboration. Full-service grocery stores, farmers markets, and other vendors that sell fresh fruits, vegetables, and other healthy foods are hard to find. What can be found often in great abundance are convenience stores and fast food restaurants that mainly sell cheap, high-fat, high-sugar processed foods. Okay, so I'm just starting by proving to you that there's less access in these neighborhoods. What there's more access of, right, are those vendors that are going to sell high-fat, high-sugar foods. Okay, so now I need to prove, right, that this leads to childhood obesity, or I'm not supporting my larger central claim. So let's look at the second part of this paragraph. I'm going to move into my second piece of evidence, and I need to provide some way of transitioning, okay, because I can't just start with the evidence, or it'll feel kind of disjointed. So here's my transition. This disparity had a damaging effect on the health of residents. Probably should be has. This disparity has a damaging effect on the health of residents. Okay, so that's my transition into my second study. So now we're going to look at a new piece of evidence. So I need to introduce it. A study published in an American Journal of Preventive Medicine examining neighborhood disparities in food access found that, okay, so here's my evidence. This study found that neighborhoods with less access to grocery vendors have significantly higher rates of childhood obesity and obesity-related health problems. You'll notice here that I'm actually putting the in-text citation above because I told you that it was written by Sarah Trulehaft, and I quoted the actual title of the piece. I don't need to put the in-text citation like I did here, Larson, 2012. You'll also notice that my period, right, goes after my parentheses when I have my in-text citation. Okay, so there's my evidence. So now I have connected. I proved to you in the first part of my paragraph that there's less access in those low-income neighborhoods. Okay, so now I actually need to connect it to childhood obesity. So I've done that here with this piece of evidence. Now I need my commentary and my explanation. High-fat, high-sugar diets are the leading cause of childhood obesity. We will have little impact on childhood obesity unless we begin to increase access to healthy foods for poor Americans. So that's my explanation. You'll see that my explanation with both pieces of evidence is pretty short and sweet. I'm going to end with my concluding sentence. Connecting it back to my larger claim, right? My central claim in this speech is that we need to do something to advocate for childhood obesity, which is found predominantly in low-income neighborhoods. We can do this through funding the development of grocery stores and farmers markets in low-income neighborhoods throughout the United States, providing families healthy and affordable options. So I have both in this paragraph proved to you my topic sentence as well as supported my central claim. So you're going to need to do that in each of your body paragraphs.